Hey guys, this is Jan from DoraHacks. Welcome today to our second workshop session from the Polygon DevX Tour India Hackathon. So before we start, let me briefly introduce the background of this hackathon. It's the largest Web3 multi-chain developer incentive platform. It is an honor for DoraHacks to support the Polygon DevX Tour India, and we also supported the APAC, Africa, Europe, and Americas. So today, we're very happy to have Joshua Waller from Phala Network here to do a workshop which is about upgrade your smart contract with Phat Contract 2.0, dynamic NFTs, Web3 social, any API, and more. And we're looking forward to all the amazing projects building on top of Polygon. So without further ado, let's welcome Joshua to start. And for the audience, if you have any questions in the meanwhile, feel free to drop them in the YouTube chat or also in the Binance Live chat room. So feel free to begin when you're ready.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, so just to reiterate, my name is Joshua. Oh, I have an echo. Let me see. Are you still hearing the echo, by the way? We're good. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, my name is Joshua. I'm the director of tech evangelism at Phala Network. And today I'm just going to give you an introduction to the Phala Network's Phat Contract 2.0, where we're connecting your smart contracts to the off-chain world such that you can create these dynamic NFTs, any kind of connect to any kind of API, and just bring some data that you before weren't able to now on-chain so that you can create some robust dApps. So let me go next. So I have a QR code to check out our docs. This will lead you to our docs and give you an intro of Phala Network. I'll leave this up for just a few more seconds. All right, and then here's our Discord. So in our Discord, you can join us, and if maybe you're in the Polygon developers channel and you're not getting an answer, you can always come to our Discord and reach out in the Phat Contract channel. And there we can make sure that we get you your answers as quick as possible. And also if you have deeper technical questions that maybe extend past the Phat Contract 2.0 implementation, then we can also answer your questions there as well. So just to give a high level overview of how we're connecting your smart contracts now to the off-chain world. This is the power that we enable through our what we call Phat Contract. And this Phat Contract is running within a secure enclave in a off-chain worker on our network, which is the Phala network. And there you can deploy your contracts, these Phat contracts, these secure off-chain programs, such that now you're able to interact with the internet through HTTPS requests. So now you're able to connect to any API, you're able to connect to other blockchains. And what I'll show later today is how to use the starter kit so that you can deploy a smart contract on Polygon Mumbai for the testnet and be able to test out this functionality with the basic starter kit. So here's kind of what you're going to get. It's sort of like a function as a service functionality for you, and all the code that you'll write is in JavaScript. So a lot more developers are familiar with JavaScript, and since we've enabled this with the Phat Contract 2.0, we really focus on creating a better developer experience for all the developers that are building on our platform. So any feedback or any interactions with our devs will be met very quickly, and we'll make sure that you get all the answers that you need so that you can have the best experience that you can when building on our protocol. So just to go into a few examples before I start the demo. Here's one example is integrating with a Lens API protocol through our Lens API Oracle that we built. There's also a template for this as well, but this allows you to, one, in the basic implementation is you query for a certain profile's information, and it will return all the profile stats back to you so that you could potentially reward users based on how many followers they have, how many people they're following, how many posts they make, how many mirror posts they make, and then You can also extend this example to be customized for any kind of like monetization on Web3 social, or even creating games that are interactive, that are based on your like in this case, like your lens profiles, like activity on chain. To get a better, like a high level look at what's going on under the hood. So here, your Polygon consumer smart contract is where the action request queue is. So this action request queue gets in, a new action gets added onto this queue with the push message function here. And our off-chain Phat contract, so the Phat contract 2.0 here, is going to be polling and listening for new action requests that are coming onto the consumer contract that you've deployed on Polygon. Whenever it sees a new request, it'll pop that request off of the queue and then poll for the latest data from the Lens API in this example. It'll get the Lens stats back, and then based on any kind of custom like computation logic that you want to do on top of the stats that are returned back, you then encode your reply and then send it back, where your consumer contract will consume this information from the off-chain in the function on message received. I'll show this a little bit later whenever I'm showing you the example of the starter kit. But this is the overall high-level look at what's going on underneath the hood and how we're able to connect in a cross-chain way to allow you to interact with the Lens API without having to run your own script or your own server in the backend for your applications. This is just a little example of the configuration template in the past and like the deployment of the Lens Oracle. But to move further past this, we'll look at some other ideas here that were built in previous hackathons, like utilizing like Web3 social in general. So if I go back, I can kind of describe like Lens Fight was using your profile stats to create different attacks for your Lens profile character, and based on your activity on chain, you would get an increase in power with your attacks. So just based on your interaction on Lens, you would be able to have a stronger fighter, and then you could go into battle against other profiles and create like a little interactive game in this way. The middle one, they used the Lens profile stats to actually create an upgrade of your Pokemon in this case. So you could level up your Pokemon in this based on the number of followers, posts, comments, mirrors, collects that you had. And then another one here, this is more of like based on like you promoting a post or mirroring a post, you could actually get access to pay out like your community supporters in this case. So in this like far right one, that's what's going on here. You can also connect to like OpenAI APIs for a smarter Web3 UX. In this case, we have the smart cookie, which took a different take on the cookies that you have for all these different websites, and then with the little browser extension, you could add and save data based off the cookie implementation being on different websites in this case. This is kind of like the high level look at it. So if you're watching this afterwards, you can take a look at this design and potentially come up with some ideas of your own. And you can reach out to me as well, and I can point you to the code repo where this implementation resides. All right, so let's start with the demo here. What I'll do is go to our starter kit. So if you go to the Phala network repo here, there's going to be a repo called Phat Contract Starter Kit, and this is the starter kit that you would use. You can use this template. So create a new repository. Create a repository. Cool, and I'll just pull down these changes. So I'll run the repo here, and then bring on my IDE. But in the meantime, are there any questions, by the way, in the chat?
So far, there are no questions.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so here's my repo I just cloned here. You'll have like a little overview of how to quickly get started. So in this quick start, it mentions like if you want to do it through the CLI way, you would do npx at Phala fn at latest init example, so that you can create your repo and then choose the Phat contract starter kit here, similar to this like example here. But what we did was use the template. So we can start by installing here, doing the yarn install. So here, and then next we'll build the function to show you what where the function is. So underneath this the source directory index.tx, this is the code that will be hosting your Phat contract 2.0. So you're limited to some limited libraries, since these are deployed on chain on Phala network. So you're not able to import any external repos that are not supported by the like the Phala Pink environment package. But just to like kind of note this whenever you're working on this. And then from here, we have like a bunch of code here. The entry point is the main function here. You'll get a request that comes in as a hex string that gets decoded here. And you can pass in secrets as well to this function. I'll go over this a little bit further as I step through, but just wanted to show this part first. So we're gonna do a yarn build now. So this is, so in the case that you're developing, you make some updates to the index.ts file, and you're just testing locally like we're doing right now. You would just run a yarn build. So now it's built, and then we can run a simulation of the, let's see, there's copy. Now we can just simulate what expected output would happen here. Let me remove this. And we get a response of 013. So what does 013 mean? So if we go back into here, we take this encoded hex string here, which is what's passed to request, and this is what's being printed out to the log. So you can use console.log to kind of debug your function, or your Phat contract 2.0 in this case. And when this hex string here is containing a request ID and encoded request string, because in the contract, the consumer contract here, right, this is where the action queue that I mentioned earlier with the push message, that's what's getting encoded and then put onto the action request queue. So we're encoding the ID, which is a uint here for the next request. So we add that here, and then the string call data of the request data, which is going to be the lens profile ID. So in the very first one that I showed, we're querying OX01 from the testnet lens API oracle, or lens API protocol. So if we go back here, we decode this, we get these answers back. We go in and we parse the string. So since it's coming back as like a hex string, we parse the request string and then turn it into like a like the proper received profile hex string, which is 0x01 here. So that's what's going on in this parse request string here. After that, we go and we fetch the API stats. So when I was mentioning earlier, like this response here, this is where this three comes into play. It's going to be returned from the total post stats from the Lens API. So if we go into this function here, we can see like this is how you would be able to interact with an API, and this is how you would create like a GraphQL query to a different API if you were to use a different API than like the Lens API in this case. So for us, we're using the Lens API. So we use the query profile request. We have that here with the profile ID, which gets submitted with the 0x01 here. And then we're getting these stats back: the total followers, total following, total posts, total comments, total mirrors, publications, and total collects. So from here, we then we take that string, the GraphQL query, and then convert it to a hex with this function here. And then we compose our HTTP request. So in this case, we're using a batch HTTP request. In our docs, we go over the different functions that you have available from the pink library here. But batch HTTP request allows you to submit 1 to 5 HTTP requests simultaneously. And if you're not just submitting one, like in this case where we just submit one and we just define that we just are interested in the index 0 response in this case to the Lens API Oracle or the Lens API protocol. And from here we have our URL, which is the API mumbai.lens.dev. We have our method, which is a post. You can use get and put as well as like different options for your implementations. We have our headers, which we defined up here: content type, application JSON, user AJ, and Phat contract. And then the body, which is the hex string that I mentioned earlier, that goes here, and then return to text body true. We have a timeout. In this case, 10 seconds here is our timeout. Whenever you're executing these queries, you probably want it to be a little less than 10 seconds, because 10 seconds is the full timeout of the entire query. So whenever we're answering an action request, our back contract has 10 seconds to submit the query the APIs, do some compute on the results, and then send the answer back to the consumer contract on chain. And these are all happening queries because we have like an account abstraction type of way to be able to submit transactions cross chain without any cost on the Phala network in this case. So we come back down here and we check for error codes. If the status code is not 200, then we return the response error in the body and say we failed to fetch the data. And then we return the parse response, right? And that parse response is right here with the response data. And then we go through and we say, okay, we're only interested in the total post, right? And that's where we got 3. So let's say like we wanted to go use total followers. Save that, and then we would rebuild the function if you want to test it locally, and then we just run it again, and we should get the total followers here. So you see 3,366. I think we can go here, right? So here's we can verify all this like here with by copying this query. I'll change this to and you can see like where we had it for total posts. There's 3 total followers, 3,366, 3 total collects, 1,597. So we know that the information we're getting back is legitimate, and we are at least able to test it locally. So this is like the first step of like getting started, right? If let's see, we go back to the README, let's expand it. So now we're gonna, I'll show you how to test locally. So this is kind of like what I showed earlier. Just this is how it looks, and the expected output would look like this. This was whenever maybe the follower count was less before, but you know. So we can run the end-to-end test by running the hard hat test. So you can see this file here is what's hosting the test here, where you have the Oracle consumer contract SOL, you push and receive message. So this is just going into the same exact flow here that I just went through, but you're testing it locally with the hard hat. So let's run that real quick. Cool. So now we can verify that we're able to push and receive messages with the Oracle consumer contract that I had mentioned earlier, where we have this push message function. And then, like I mentioned earlier, when I was describing the Lens API Oracle flow, this on message receive is the function from your Phat rollup anchor contract to be able to handle the response. So whenever we're getting that response, so let's go. So this response here, you see 0, 1, and 3. This is what we're decoding right here. So this ABI.decode is gonna return 0, 1, and 3 here, and then we can emit a response, or we can edit here and do different things like minting an NFT, or any kind of creative thing that you want to do with the information that you return back from the APIs that you get. So this is what's happening whenever we submit a response, and this is how we are able to consume it in the consumer contract. See, so now that's like the first steps of the quick start. So we can go a little further by checking out the getting started piece. So from here, I'll show you like the key steps. So one of the key steps is you'll need to have like a Polkadot.js wallet extension. I'll click here for you to see how that looks. So you come here and download it for Chrome, because we're a parachain on Polkadot, so we utilize the Polkadot accounts in this case, so the SS5A accounts. And from here, you'll have like your accounts whenever you generate an account. And in this case, for this example, I use my HaHaHa account. And then to export it, you just hit export. You type in the password for your account, and then you can export it here. I'll call it like a Polkadot account, and I'll move it to projects, and I'll put it in the root directory of my DoraHacks example here. So I'll save it there. It's useful later whenever we're publishing our Phat contract 2.0 to the Bricks UI in this case. I'll show this a little bit later. So if we go back here, so now we should see our Polkadot account.json file here. So we'll be able to handle that later. And the next step would be creating a profile. So you want to go to bricks.phala.network here and create your profile. I can let's see. Let me see if I can create a new one just to show you all the steps so you have it as a video. We'll choose something that hasn't created one, maybe this one. Okay, so the typical onboarding would be like this. So you come in here and you say, oh, I want to create my Bricks profile. So you sign the certificate. A pop-up will come up with the message to sign. So it'll look like this here. You sign the message. Now you need to get some test file. So you get some test file. Give us 5,000 file here. Now you need to deposit into the cluster. So on Phala Network, we have a cluster of workers where you deploy your contracts to and then instantiate them into the cluster. So you have to have like a cluster balance so that you can utilize some of the storage like for depositing your contracts, and then ensuring that you can also then from there change the state of that contract as well, so that you have this like cluster balance. This should also happen like automatically with the calculations in the front end, but you also need to do this as like a first step. So you would do a deposit. You get a little pop-up like this, like before, sign the transaction, and I'll deposit like 5 Phala tokens there. Nice. So now we can create the profile. So we're going to have 3 transactions that are going to help kind of bootstrap us and create our Bricks profile. So the first one, you'll get a transaction like here. Sign. All right, so the first one's finished, and now we have the second transaction. Send that here. Then the third one here. Cool. And whenever you create it, you'll be able to, you'll have these like 2 templates here. You have the Phat contract starter kit, which is what I'm using right now. And then you have like Lens API Oracle. You can also do it on your own by using this command line, like I had mentioned earlier in the starter kit example. But that's just the process of creating the Bricks profile. Another thing that I'd like to also link is whenever you want to check out the information for your Bricks profile, click on this number here where it says 4,995 Pha. Click here. So you get your account. You have the EVM address that gets generated for your Bricks profile. So this is the Polygon Mumbai account that you have. And it comes with a RPC right here, but you can go on Alchemy or whichever RPC provider you use and submit your URL here to change it, and just hit save. And you also have to make sure, so since this is your gas account, you need to send a little bit of Matic to this account as well. You can see like the cluster total balance here. You have the on-chain total balance. This is where you would adjust your staking. So if you want to get a share of the computation resources, you just adjust. You can put like 10 here, adjust, sign the transaction. And this would ensure that you have a share of the computing power of the cluster. so that whenever your contracts are deployed and instantiated, they become active so that users can interact with your contract. So I'm going to go back to my other account that I've done for the demo here, sign. And I already have like a few already deployed, but I'm going to show you the deployment process of the basic starter kit. So I'll come back here. I've shown these steps with the exporting. We've tested locally, run the function. The next step would be testing like hard hat locally. So we could do, so let's do this step here where we would test out locally so that you don't even have to deploy to like the testnet yet. You can just run your test locally, make sure it works before you even have to deploy. So you would run hard hat node. So you have hard hat running. Then run yarn local host deploy. So now we have this contract deployed here. And then next we will do yarn localhost watch, which is our index, our Phat contract 2.0. It's going to be, this is how we can test locally of the action request queue working properly and having the Phat contract 2.0 being able to listen on this contract's action request queue, and then from there be able to take in the request from the hard hat deployed contract. If there's a new request, then it would then trigger the function to execute, so you can test locally. We'll do this really quick here. So I'll, in this case, like, so for this example, you go yarn local host watch, and then paste the deployed contract. We go to artifacts, contract, Oracle, consumer contract, JSON, then dist, index.js. So make sure that you build your function so that you can run it locally here. And then we'll take this address because it's the API that we'll be interacting with. So now we're listening for new requests that get added to the queue. So next we want to then push a request on the queue so that we can see something happen. So in this case, we'll copy this post. Let me grab. Should be able to be pushing the requests, and awesome. So we ended up, so this is like the received event right here. As you can see, like we had the request ID is 1. The profile ID that we query is OX01, and the result is 3366 from the total followers. And if we look here where we're listening, we can see that this information is also returned. So what I'm going to do next is go into this localhost. So this is where the scripts are. You have the push request, and we can do 0x02, right? And let's see what comes for this. So we'll push a new request. It should be for a second. Let me save this actually. localhost error. Okay, cool. So now we're getting the 0x02 account, their number here, and the request ID there. And then we can see here where it's grabbing this information as well. So this is kind of the local test flow here. If you want to run it on hard hat first before deploying it to the Mumbai testnet in this case. So I'll stop this. Are there any questions by chance in the chat?
Yeah, like right now there's no questions, but if anyone has some questions, feel free to drop them in the chat.
Awesome. Okay, so now we have that. We can start to do the deployment phase. See if I can. I'll need to move this down so I can copy over some keys. So what you'll do is you'll copy over the dot environment local file and create your own dot env file. And from there you'll configure your API keys for your RPC nodes, your deployer private key, Polygon scan API key, and etc. All right. All right, so let's just deploy the consumer contract. We can do yarn test deploy. And so now we have this. So you see that you'll need to set this. So you'll set this in your .env file. So in this case, it would look like your .env file will look like this, and you would set it here in the consumer contract address. I'll do that real quick. Oops. Oh, well. And then so now that we have that deployed, we can verify the contract. So we can do a yarn test verify and this contract ID here. So, oops. And we can go to here and see that we have our consumer contract. It's already been, request has already been added. So we can go back here. So our next steps would be deploying the Phat contract now. So when I exported that account earlier, this is the step that I'll take with the Polkadot account .json, so that I can just submit my password to the account, and then it can handle all the rest in the backend. If you're not using it, then you have to define your mnemonic key in the command line, and that's not optimal in that case. But so I'll just deploy my function. I have my consumer contract defined. Once this function is deployed, then I'll set a tester address in the consumer contract that gets generated from this function, but I'll show that step here in a second. So we'll do yarn test deploy function -a. So first we want to define our RPC node. So my RPC node is here. My consumer contract, which can be found. So now it's deploying to my network. Awesome. So workflow ID is 3. We can go back to the Bricks UI here, and we can see that is now deployed here. You may get this like at first, but I'm sure it can link up in a second as it loads up. This is our consumer contract here. This is our RPC node. This is our tester address. So this is important here. We need this tester address, and we need to set it in the consumer contract. So if we go back here and we go into the Mumbai folder, we can see there's a set a tester, right? Usually this will take the Mumbai Oracle tester. So you would need to change your .environment.local this address here. You would change it in the Mumbai Phala Oracle tester. I'll do this real quick. Awesome. So what I'll do now is I'll set my tester. So I'll go yarn test set a tester. Now our consumer contract should be updated with the right tester address, so that we can communicate between the two, between the Phat contract 2.0 and the consumer contract. Check this again. See if it's... Oh, all right, so configuration looks all good. Gas account filled. Configuration looks good. Okay. And we should Oh, so it's already replied. So whenever I set the attester, it immediately was able to see that this request was on the queue, and then sent a transaction on chain here, so that we could see in the logs that we received that information from the Lens API query. So this is just kind of like the basic starter kit of you being able to deploy on the testnet, get some information from Lens API, and then put it on chain. There's more. There's like more extensive examples. Like in this example here, I created a dynamic NFT example where let's go to the third web for. So for instance, like I generate a new image and then change the metadata properties for the city whenever I update weather. So this image could change whenever this whenever I update the weather here. So I put the city. So based on this, on the update weather, this is this also goes onto the request queue, and it should get an answer back from one of my what is it now? So one of my projects. So I think it's I believe it's this one here. Check that again. Good. Yeah, so this it's updated. We can check the logs. Gives us back our link for the URI. I think. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So then I can come back here. And it looks like it's still sunny, so the image doesn't change, but we have like sunny, we have the weather updated and the time as well. So that's just kind of like one of the examples that you can build for like dynamic NFTs. And then there's others as well, of course, that I can also help with. But this is just kind of like the overview of like what you can do with Phala's like Phat Contract 2.0s to be able to enhance your smart contracts and connect them to external APIs or to different chains based on whatever your use case is. But yeah, that should be the full workshop for today.
All right, thank you so much for doing this incredible workshop. Let's give the audience some time to ask questions. Maybe in the meantime, you could go through the bounties and also share a bit more about ideas or what you would like to see, what should be built.
All right, yeah, let's take a look at the bounties here. Go here. Bounties. Here we go. So here's our bounties right here for Phala Network. We have like different types. So we have like most creative and inspiring. So this is more of like how creative can you get with this Phat Contract 2.0, and what kind of like pushing the limits of what we haven't seen before or something that's never been built before, that like just creating something incredibly creative is what we'll value for this top prize here. And it can even utilize like the Web3 social as well, like doing something creative with Web3 social. But typically we just want to see somebody out there utilize the off-chain capabilities in a unique way and show something that really can showcase something that hasn't been done on Polygon before, maybe. And you can also potentially connect to like ZK EVM as well. It's pretty easy. You just change the RPC nodes and you're able to create like a ZK EVM contract, consumer contract that connects to the Phat Contract 2.0. Second one would be like Web3 social integration. So integrating with like Lens protocol, Farcaster, and like XMTP, just creating some kind of integration with Web3 social. So in the Discord channel for the Polygon developers, I posted some examples in there of Web3 social examples. One of them includes AirStack's using AirStack API integration to create a trust score. So I can even anybody that would be willing to take on that. I have like there's also some very thorough documentation from the AirStack team where they show how they do their on-chain graph. So if you wanted to take on something like that and create a trust score for Web3 social apps, it's pretty easy. I can show you an example and you can talk to me and I can help you get started in that area. But that would be something that we would be interested in. We're very interested in the Web3 social like use cases. So for the first and second prizes, those are very highly rated in our judging criteria. Qualifying submissions would be extending beyond what the starter kit does. So being able to connect to different APIs, create like a unique application based on what you want to build. So just being able to qualify would just be changing the different endpoints that you interact with and bringing the data on chain to create a unique application. We have, I guess this is just like a video, but those are like the main criteria. So we have 2 prizes for 2,000, 3 prizes for 1,000, and then 5 prizes for $500. Then we have some video submissions. If you want to add a video on top of your submission, blog posts, you'll get additional 250 Phala. And then if you want to create a starter kit or a template, we have like $100 in USD plus like a Phala shirt, Phat contract shirt, and a bucket hat. But those are the main information there. But if you have any questions, just please reach out to me, and then I can get you all the information you need.
All right. So thank you so much, Joshua. If anyone has like any questions after this live session, feel free to also go on the Polygon developer Discord and ask over there. And thank you so much for teaching us more about how to create your smart contract with Phat Contracts 2.0. We learned a lot more about dynamic NFTs, Web3 socials, APIs, and a lot more. So we are hosting more of these workshops and also like the close-up ceremony here on these channels. So feel free to also subscribe to our Binance Live chat and also to our YouTube. So thank you, Joshua, for your time and for your contribution. And we're looking forward to all the incredible projects building on top of Polygon and on Phala network. So thanks for joining us today. Hope you guys can keep building and kick off the next best product in the industry. See you soon and goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.